Let's make bad art.
Alright.
Let's make bad art!
Let's make bad art! I am ready to make bad art.
Let's make bad art! Let's make bad art!
Sometimes we have a fear of making marks on canvas or paper because we have a pressure of making really good art. Especially for animators, this kind of fear is even grander because animation is so time-consuming since it takes months, if not years. So in that sense, stop-motion animation is really good technique to make some experimental animation without feeling the pressure of making good art. Compared to the hand-drawn or hand-painted animation or CG animation, either 2D or 3D, stop-motion animation can be relatively quickly made. It can be done in 3 to 4 hours, as other animation takes months or years to finish. It can be made with any paper cutouts or objects, so it is accessible to most people who don't have much drawing skill sets or a lot of knowledge with the program. At the same time, it is a great technique for the animators to experiment, learn timing and spacing quickly, and have fun. Oftentimes we make a joke about it by saying, let's make bad art, but what it really means is let's not have any pressure of making good art and let's experiment and just have fun. I strongly believe when you have fun, the good work comes naturally. And I don't think there's any such a thing like bad art. The only bad art is you talk about how great idea is and never make one. That case, I have plenty of them.
Stop-motion animation is essentially frame-by-frame filmmaking, using physical objects and materials that an animator moves, changes, and manipulates while photographing all the movements one frame at a time. It can bring everyday objects to life.
I think stop-motion animation is just figuring out ways, or to me, most often it's figuring out ways to make animation with physical things. By taking photos and moving more photos.
Stop motion is at once an extremely complex and time-consuming technique, while also being one of the most easily accessible forms of animation for beginners. Anyone with access to a camera, regardless of age or experience, can quickly and easily learn and experiment with basic stop-motion animation. Stop-motion animation offers a playful and experimental form of expression that anyone can access and enjoy.
key difference between stop motion animation and other forms of animation is that all the frames are captured in camera in sequence. So what that means is that instead of other forms of animation like hand-drawn or computer-generated, where you'd work from key poses or keyframes, that is, you have the first frame of a movement and the end frame, and then filling in the in-betweens. With stop motion, you start at the first frame and just go straight ahead until the movement's done. Well, in stop motion animation, you can use pretty much anything you want. Claymation, for example, is a really popular technique, and it uses 3D puppets made of plasticine clay, which is a really durable and flexible material that will remain malleable for the extent of a shoot. 3D puppets, in fact, are one of the most common techniques, and they can be made of any material, even people. So pixelation, for example, is where you use human puppets and pose people frame by frame to create movement. And you can make it look like people are flying or transforming into an object or anything you want. Another way to make stop motion puppets is using paper. So you can make paper cutouts and paper puppets and shoot them on a flat surface. You could also do that on a light box so that there's light coming from behind, and it will give it a nice shadow puppet effect. But really, you can use anything. Toys, Legos, everyday objects, you can bring them to life with stop motion animation. This is what makes stop motion such a great technique for experimentation. You can pick up anything you find and try to animate it and see what happens. And the results might be bad, but it also could be something really interesting and different, and you won't know until you try.
We have a new specialized stop-motion studio here at UL Lafayette in the Visual Arts Department, with light-controlled stations for top-down shooting used for 2D stop-motion and a designated room for 3D sets and puppet animation. Stop-motion is the quickest and simplest way to learn animation. It embodies a DIY ethos, and you don't need to know the rules to give it a try. You can quickly and easily experiment. We have been offering workshops since the stop-motion lab was established, and will continue to offer in the future.
What do you find most interesting during this whole experience in this workshop?
I like how simple it was. Like, I thought it was like really hard to do, but it's really simple and it's really something that anyone can do, which is cool.
I found the way that we made the puppets very interesting. It was a lot easier to do than I had been doing, and it made them more fluid.
It was really fun. I think the most time-consuming part was probably like making the little puppet, because I painted it and it took kind of a long time. But it was a lot of fun. It was really cool to like watch the little animation at the end.
I made bad art. I made a silly looking possum and I made a move.
I made good bad art.
I made good art. I made good art.
Go animation.